All right, we got Madly Mesozoic. I wanted to check out one of these videos. This is a newer video. I'm not really sure what we're getting into here, but I know we're getting some creation here. We're getting some art here. All right. Creating a behemoth to vanquish the Indominus 2.0. I don't even know what that is, but hey, I'm excited, bro. Let's see what we got going on here. Hold on. See, now, what is that?
I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a pale horse.
Ladies and gentle soars, today we will be interrupting our regularly scheduled Spec Evo programming to bring you something special.
Okay.
For those of you who watch Goji Center, one of my favorite channels and a big inspiration for my own, you've probably
know who that
seen
is, but shout
this
out to
video
homie, though.
of theirs where they redesigned the Indominus Rex from Jurassic World. And you may have also seen Goji Guy's video.
Yeah, I'm not much of a dinosaur guy. I haven't, I've never really been into like the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World movies. It's not really my vibe. I respect it though. So I'm not familiar with this right here.
Creating his own hybrid dinosaur to take on the Indominus 2.0,
Dang.
which Goji Center
kinda
actually eviscerated without even changing theirs.
Dang.
It was just moments after finishing this video when I realized Goji Guy went about it the wrong way. Perfect counter to a super carnivore isn't another super carnivore, it's a super herbivore. When we think about conflicts between animals, more often than not, we're thinking predator versus prey, not so much predator versus predator. For what is
That is
T-Rex without
true, though.
Triceratops? The cheetah without the gazelle? Or the lion without the buffalo? Not only am I going to create this hybrid with fewer species than Goji Center used to create theirs, just 7, I'm not going to use
so much
any
people. Shout out to
dinosaurs
them.
or predators at all. In fact, I am going to double down on my channel's well-established mammal bias and prove
Mammalian supremacy.
by using only mammalian prey items, or at least mammals that aren't really meat eaters, with one exception. And by now, you've probably also noticed some biblical themes in this video. And this is because Goji Center quoted the Bible in their video, specifically some bits of Mark 5:9, "My name is Legion, for we are many." This suggests that the Indominus 2.0 and its offspring are demons. And to take on demons, we must levy righteousness.
Big God.
Also because I've been itching to make a video with some biblical themes, and this was the perfect excuse to do so.
That's fair. I thought that's valid. I ain't gonna lie.
That's
definitely valid.
For us.
Goji Center, in their latest community post as of me making this video, have told us that the purpose of the Indominus 2.0 was to be a primarily terrestrial animal with the capability to bring down all life forms, big and small, reproduce quickly, and cause a localized extinction event. And we see in their initial video that the Indominus 2.0
this look demonic, bro.
And one of these diseases has the potential to rapidly evolve to transmit to humans and presumably wipe out millions of people. In our scenario, all mammals, birds, and reptiles carry the Indominus plague, and it has mutated so much that every breath any one of these animals takes spreads the disease into the air and onto surfaces. And human civilization is rapidly nosediving towards extinction. The creation of our hybrid starts with a team of top geneticists working under a coalition of world governments who have so far survived the Indominus plague by hiding in an underground compound located on a remote tropical island in Malaysia.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, I'm already sold. Netflix, make this a TV show, bro. Come on. Look up with the homie, you feel me? Get to animating, bro. We need this.
We're tasked with
I'm locked in already.
Challenge the Indominus 2.0 without human intervention. Unlike InGen, they had no access to dinosaur DNA. They could only work with living tissue samples and some Pleistocene mammal DNA seized from Masrani Global not long after the bankruptcy of the company following the events of 2015. Their goal was to maximize strength, power, and efficiency while using as few different animals as possible.
I forgot we are going off of Jurassic World. Okay. I mean, still though. That could be cool.
Was the clear choice for the base. Simulations run by Goji Center themselves have already confirmed that the animal was capable of taking on theropod dinosaurs. Their tusks will be our hybrid's primary means of puncturing through the dinosaur's armor, while also serving as blunt force weapons, able to be swung back and forth like giant clubs.
Okay.
Indominus can't rush our hybrid head-on without risk of serious injury or death. Elephants,
let me say, we don't got the facilities for all that, bro.
Ensuring the Indominus can't rush our hybrid head-on.
Hey, man. Hey, that's real, though, bro. And that's why Netflix, Lock in with the bro, man. Come on now.
Without risk of serious injury or
Hey,
death.
this getting a point across. I was getting a point across.
Males are some of the most defensive and territorial creatures in the animal kingdom, and this alone will give our behemoth the confidence it needs to stand up to our enemy. They sport the largest brain of any land mammal that we know of. Their intelligence would have already been on par if...
How big is a capybara brain?
This alone will give our behemoth the confidence it needs to stand up to our enemy.
I don't think I've ever seen one of their brains before. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's tiny. That's tiny. I mean, I would kind of expect it to be that, you know, because they're tiny. They're pretty small animals, but I guess that is still smaller than like five. That's kind of crazy.
Of any land mammal that we know of. Their intelligence would have already been on par, if not higher than that of the Indominus 2.0. At least what we know given its genome. This brain supports some very powerful...
Wait, hold on. Let me look at these stats, just because, again, I'm not too familiar
intelligence would have already been on par, if not higher than that.
What we got going on here. I've just never been a dinosaur guy, man. Even as a kid, like, I wasn't really that into them. I thought they were, like, kind of cool, but... All right, genome. This is the genomes. All right. Tree frog. Huh, that's surprising. Share the pit viper, I see, and cuttlefish. They share a lot of these, it looks like. Yeah, this got the great ape. Nah, this is kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Short-tailed shrew. They be getting busy, right? I'm pretty sure.
In its genome. This
Maybe on BT.
Some very powerful senses. In ideal conditions, they can pick up on scents from as far as 12 miles away, making use of over 2,500 olfactory receptor genes. This is 5 times more than humans, and more than 3 times as many as T-Rex, the animal with the strongest sense of smell in the Indominus's genome. If, for whatever reason, it doesn't smell the hybrid carnivore, they will certainly be able to hear or even feel her coming before she even has a chance to strike. Elephants can detect infrasonic sounds from anywhere between 2 and 6 miles away, depending on surrounding conditions. Their highly sensitive feet pads allow them to communicate via sending and receiving low-frequency rumbles through the ground, with some studies suggesting they can do this over several kilometers. Needless to say, our hybrid will know where several Indominus are before any of them know where they are. Their trunks can lift up to 500 kilograms or 1,100 pounds, around 6 to 10% of their body weight. Even stronger are their necks, being able to lift at least their own body weight in tandem with their tusks. Using a 2024 estimate for the largest Paleoloxodon, the ancient elephant was about 4.5 meters tall, 6 to 7 meters long excluding their tusks, and weighed no more than 18 tons or 16,000 kilograms. The skull of Paleoloxodon nemidicus comes equipped with a large bony boss structure on the top of their head that serves as an attachment for neck muscles, making it likely even stronger by proportion. Given that the scaling of size and strength is not a direct one-to-one,
this thing's a beast. I ain't gonna lie.
Say that the elephant, at minimum, can lift 9 tons or half its body weight, which means Paleoloxodon can already lift more than half the weight of its adversary. While this is impressive, the ancient elephant can't stand up to the hybrid demon without upgrades. It needs to be bigger, and what better choice for increasing size than the largest animal of all time, the blue whale. Now, how are we doing this now? Same size of the blue whale, but if the blue whale genome we add increases the size of our hybrid and is carefully selected for efficacy...
Okay. I get it. We're just having fun here, kind of. But how on earth are we adding a blue whale genome to this? Like, bro, huh? I just don't get. They ain't even in the same biome, bro. But all right, we just gonna go with it though. We just gonna go with it.
Is now 2 meters tall.
I'm here for it.
11 meters long. This immense weight, combined with the sturdy and high center gravity of the Paleoloxodon, would make any attempts to push this animal over by the Indominus downright impossible. However, this size
so them
comes
tiny
with
little
some
arms.
complications. We need the cardiovascular system to support this method of scaling. A blue whale's lungs and heart are twice the size of the elephant's in proportion to their body. We will be taking the whale's robust heart and lungs, as well as their flexible rib cage and pleural cavity to make room for their action. We will also be using their large and robust liver, which won't make sense now, but it'll come up later. Secondly, this is...
They finna like drink or something?
This size, mostly because of the skeletal structure of the Pleistocene.
Or eat fermented fruit, I should say, because I don't think animals can really like drink. But they can get drunk, right? Like, in theory.
But we don't actually need anything from the whale to fix this. There's another animal later down the line that'll help us, but for now, we can use the same gene editing technology to simply increase the thickness of our hybrid's bones.
Yo, this editing is so tough, bro.
To compensate. Even with a doubling in mass, their skin is just not going to be thick enough to hold up to the claws of the Indominus. A cornerstone for many of the animals that large theropods hunted in the Mesozoic is armor. And among mammals, there's really only one clear choice for this. The Glyptodon. armor was the
okay, not what
thickest
I
of
was.
any
All
known
right,
mammal.
that works.
Armadillos, a modern relative of theirs with
Okay,
similar,
so
albeit
yeah,
much
that
smaller
makes sense.
body shells, have sometimes deflected or slowed down small caliber bullets like 22 long rifle or even
What?
9mm from a distance. However, if we simply throw a
No. They're bulletproof. What?
shells have
I didn't know
sometimes
that.
deflected or
I knew that their armor was strong, but I didn't think it was that strong. Man from man from Texas. It was out of Texas, Florida. But when has been wounded after a bullet he fired an armadillo ricocheted and hit him in the head. Nah, that's crazy. Bullet kills animal, rebounds, his fence, travels through back door and recliner before striking her in back. Nah, and that was in Georgia. That wasn't even in Florida. That's crazy.
or slowed down small caliber bullets like
I feel
22
like Georgia is slept on in terms of like how southern it is as a state. Like a lot of people, whenever you think Georgia, you just think Atlanta. You think, you know what I mean? YNs, Hellcats, rappers, like all the, you know what I mean? But it's still in the South though, and like the rest of the state is kind of like that. We just, we be forgetting, but
rifle or even 9mm from a distance.
don't sleep on Georgia, man.
If we simply throw a behemoth-sized glyptodon shell over our hybrid, it's not going to be able to move very well.
Yeah.
A big part of the Paleoloxodon being able to defeat the T-Rex in Goji Center's video was its mobility, and we can't afford to sacrifice too much of that here. We'll have to selectively apply this armor in segments, preferably on the back, top of the neck, shoulders, sides, and flanks. We'll be leaving the underside without armor, not only because the Glyptodonts didn't have any there, but also because if the Indominus 2.0 tries to go for this underside, they would put themselves in danger of being trampled or crushed. Now, in terms of thickness,
but then again, it can't tip it over. I was gonna say there could be a way though for it to like get caught off guard and it end up exposed, but it's so big it can't even tip it over. Hold on, he cooking.
Critical areas
He cooking
like
now.
the neck, flanks, and sides with the thickest of armor, which, if reasonably scaled up with our hybrid, shouldn't exceed more than 8 centimeters. Less critical areas like the shoulders, thighs, and back will be no thicker than 5 to 6 centimeters.
Okay.
We will also be incorporating the Glyptodon's armored club tail.
I like that.
Combining this with some of the DNA of the whale to give us a long, rigid armored tail that can be swung with some respectable force. So, this suit of armor should serve
this is
sufficient
hard,
for
bro.
our enemy's attacks. The Indominus won't be able to properly mount the animal like it can with sauropods due to the dense and
Yeah, wait, hold on. His
surface of
arms
the
are actually
armor
not that
as
tiny.
angles for their bone-crushing bites. Even with the wide, gaping maw of the hybrid carnivore, the broad surface of the armor would make it difficult for it to apply its bone-crushing bite. Not to mention that the highest forces their bite can produce can only be applied by the back teeth, not by the front. The fourth species we'll be taking DNA from is the Megatherium, or the giant ground sloth, and not for the reasons you may think. Megatherium had incredibly powerful limbs, front and back. While they used their forelimbs to grab onto the trunks and branches of the trees they fed on, massive hind limbs...
Yo, look at the squirrel just chilling.
Megatherium had incredibly powerful limbs, front and back. While they used their
I would play the chill guy theme, but I don't feel like searching it up. But this is a chill guy right here.
forelimbs to grab onto the trunks
Just
and
hanging
branches
out.
of the trees they fed on, massive hind limbs worked in tandem with an extended, sturdy calcaneus bone to hold up their hulking bodies. I want these powerful limbs, and more importantly, I want this heel bone. In Goji Center's T-Rex vs. Paleoloxodon video, the large elephant finishes the theropod off by rearing up its hind legs and bringing all of its weight down onto its ribs. At our current size and weight, that would be almost impossible. But if we give our hybrid the limb strength to push all of its body weight off the ground, as well as the balance of the heel bone, it can come right back down and crush the dinosaur like an anvil on a pumpkin. And just to add insult to injury, while I can't give our massive proboscidean the ability to knuckle walk, I can enhance the little nubby toes on the front to be more formidable claws that will leave the human with no chance at an open casket. Tusks
This
are
thing
a
is
great weapon,
tough.
but with all that size, I'd be foolish not to enhance their ability to deliver pure blunt force trauma. For this, I have decided on the buffalo sheep as our fifth species. Now, I know why this instead of something with more forward-facing horns like a buffalo. Well, because this lamb has more to offer than just horns. When placed on the hybrid, the ram horns will actually serve as protection for our elephant's ears. This will make it harder for the Indominus to get a hold of the elephant's big vulnerable ears, as well as narrow the path to access their throat. Secondly, the thick, layered, shock-absorbing
I was about to say
cranium
that
of the sheep
bone.
will increase the amount of force this animal can take to the skull tenfold. And lastly, the powerful rear legs of the bighorn sheep are designed to provide quick bursts of power, as well as redirect force from headbutts into
There's another purpose that you guys will connect the dots with later on. Okay, bet.
further augmenting the shock absorption and the limb strength of our hybrid, and ideally also giving us a slight boost in speed. For our sixth creature, we have the solution to our disease problem. Fruit bats. It's commonly known that bats are the carriers of untold numbers of diseases, including some of the deadliest viruses, rabies, Ebola, SARS, and many more. Bats very rarely show symptoms of these diseases that they carry, which is actually still a mystery to scientists today.
It's weird.
It's presumed to be because of its ability to limit inflammation. This trait from the bat and our size-induced high body temperature will make it very hard for the Indominus plague to affect our hybrid, even though they will certainly be carriers of it. I had thought
at this point, bro, it's kind of OP. It's low-key. It's kind of OP at this point, bro.
Bats because they're pretty resistant to diseases, but even more so resistant to venom. But after running some math, shrew venom...
Even the pit viper venom here wasn't talked about in the 2.0 video, but it was present. What I will say... What I say will still apply for the most part. Why can't I read right now?
Massive doses which the Indominus might deliver.
Come on, bro.
Would probably have no effect on a creature our size, but if a theoretical lethal dose was achieved by the Indominus, our hybrid's sheer size and elevated body temperature would rapidly break down the shrew venom's enzymes before they could achieve their full effect. Which brings us to our seventh animal, and the one species where the geneticists abstained from using only mammals, the scaly-footed gastropod.
Why does that look like that, bro?
This
what?
deep-sea snail...
Oh, nah, bro. That look crazy. This looked like something that was lurking in that advanced darkness in that one SpongeBob episode, bro.
Has a few aces up its shell.
This was definitely one of those things that was in that line.
We'll bring the rest of the hybrid's genome and traits into harmony. First, these gastropods don't eat anything. Instead, they intake hydrogen sulfides from the deep-sea volcanic vents that they live around. This is because they have a symbiotic relationship with gamma proteobacteria that will process and break down these chemicals in order to feed the gastropod internally.
Still a lot of debate and research to be done about the scaly foot gastropods, so some of this info is speculative and subject to change. All right, that's fair. That's fair.
It's processed into iron sulfides like pyrite and greigite. These materials move through the bloodstream of the deep-sea snail to their shell, which vastly enhances its strength, giving them some of, if not the strongest armor of any living creature in the animal kingdom. We will be taking this bacteria and placing it within the stomach and esophageal glands of our hybrid, as well as traits from the gastropod to make our animal able to process the waste in order to receive energy from it. But how will our hybrid get a hold of enough hydrogen sulfides to feed these bacteria, since they won't be near any deep-sea volcanic vents? Waterlogged sediments are very high in iron and hydrogen sulfides. Our hybrid will be eating a lot of this muck in order to feed the bacteria in their stomachs. The hybrid circulatory system will distribute these iron sulfides to various parts of the body by means of specialized macrophages synthesized in the bone marrow, which will transport and bind them to the cells of their bones, dentin, and keratin, and yes, that includes the keratin in their skin. These carefully placed microscopic bonds will reinforce all of these tissues, increasing their fracture resistance, tensile, and compressive strength by anywhere between 30 and 50%. This is why I mentioned the whale liver earlier on. It's gonna need some serious waste filtering power. If we mix our hybrid mammalian liver with the properties of the gastropod's hepatopancreas, it should be able to handle it. Though
this thing is OP, bro.
Are brittle on their own, when combined with these structural tissues, it would be even stronger than the iron bone composite seen in the teeth and claws of the Indominus 2.0. On the Mohs scale...
See, I don't even know too much about the Indominus 2.0, but at this point, bro, it's not even a fight anymore. It's gonna bully it. It's gonna get bullied. It's over.
Pyrite has a hardness of around 6.5, rendering our adversary's ironclad weapons drastically less effective. A huge problem our hybrid is going to have with all of its biological processes and its size is body heat. The more we scale up our elephant, the less surface area he has to dissipate his heat. Given that it's an endothermic animal, this is going to be a serious problem. Unless we give it traits from the snail that will allow it to better tolerate this internal heat. The gastropod is an extremophile, living around deep-sea volcanic vents where they can tolerate a maximum temperature of 120 degrees Celsius or 248 degrees Fahrenheit. This is thanks to specialized heat-shock proteins and enzymes adapted to maintain cellular function.
That makes sense though. They literally live next to volcanoes.
High temperatures. Including these proteins and enzymes in their body should squash any concerns about body heat.
Wow.
Modern elephant calves take anywhere between 18
That's
to 22
adorable, man.
months to gestate in their mother's wombs. And if we want our hybrid to have any chance of reproducing in the presence of a population of Indominus 2.0, this will just simply not do. The scaly-footed gastropod, of course, does not
a scaly-footed gastropod. There's unfortunately no footage of the scaly-footed gastropod I could find. Yikes!
give birth to live young like most mammals do.
Maybe in the
They
cut.
instead will lay hundreds of eggs at a time. So, instead of gestating, our hybrid will lay large amounts of eggs like the snail.
Not totally implausible considering ancestrally mammals all laid eggs at one point. True.
Prioritizing the quantity
Truing.
of offspring, being probably no larger than a rabbit upon hatching. Now, hatching
Wow.
that small, it would take well over 50 years to reach full size. However,
Yo.
within the Jurassic Cinematic Universe, even non-hybrid dinosaurs are modified to reach maturity rapidly. According to the Masrani global marketing website from back in 2015, the first InGen animals were cloned in 1986, and the first mature dinosaurs were moved from Sorna to Nublar in 1988. So the technology to rapidly
I really just wanted to yell 1987 so bad, and we skipped over it, man.
accelerate the growth of animals without hybridizing has already been
That's around when Duke was
so I see
born.
no problem in applying this to our mammalian behemoth to achieve similar numbers. Sea snails are capable of mating with each other or self-fertilizing at the expense of genetic diversity, very similar to the parthenogenesis of their demonic adversary. With the genome for humanity's last chance against the Indominus 2.0 sequenced, the geneticists of the Coalition raise a herd of these animals and prepare them to exorcise these demons from Isla Nublar.
All right.
Look now at the behemoth. His bones are like beams of bronze, his ribs like bars of iron.
Introducing the Diciotherium deus, a perfect hybrid behemoth.
That's so hard.
And just as Goji Guy gave his creation a name, I will also give mine a name. The savior of human civilization and of Isla Nublar, Samson.
Samson, okay.
At full size,
That's
not including his
tough.
tusks, Samson is 10 meters or 32.8 feet
Yeah, that
long.
top-down
He
view is hard.
2 meters or 27 feet tall, almost 6 meters wide, and weighs 83 US tons, or over 75,000 kilograms. Samson and just one other Diciotherium named Delilah were produced in the lab via artificial wombs and raised in the underground facility. They were fed an extremely high-calorie, viscous, and frozen blend of foods called manna, enriched with crystallized hydrogen sulfide to strengthen their bones and armor. While growing up, they were subject to many tests, including durability and combat tests.
Okay.
He was fired upon with bullets of increasing caliber, starting with .22 long rifle all the way up to .308 Winchester, and all rounds failed to penetrate his armor.
Okay.
When Samson was about the size of a pickup truck, he was put into a shoving match with an armored M1114 Humvee, not only matching the vehicle's power output, but also aggressively goring the vehicle and piercing its steel armor plates in various spots.
taking out a Humvee is crazy.
Had concluded. The Diciotherium's capacity for herding behavior was proven early on when Samson and Delilah could not go long without being near each other, and when they were moved.
This is insane, but what happens if it like steps on an IED? What happens? Because that underside is a little, I think if it steps on an IED, it's cooked. Low key. I didn't think about that until right now.
From their paddock to other parts of the facility, one would hold the other by the tail, much like modern Indian elephants do. The two hybrids stayed in this facility until they exceeded the size of an adult African elephant. They were supposed to stay for longer, but by the time they had reached this size, the facility could no longer make enough mana for the elephants to continue growing. They were sent to the surface of the island and observed using drones and trail cams while efforts to find a cure for the Indominus plague.
Yeah, y'all been seeing drones lately? I feel like a lot of people have just been talking about drones lately. And I saw one about a week ago. That was, I didn't really think anything of it, but a lot of people have been seeing drones all over the place.
Fruitlessly continued. The size and many complex biological processes of these animals made their hunger insatiable, and they began to devour any and all plants in sight, eating trees whole, and even digging their roots out from the ground with their massive toe claws. The Diciotherium had consumed nearly the entire island, leaving behind a barren
how are we gonna get that thing off the island though?
wasteland of rock and dirt. In this time frame, the first two elephants had reached what was assumed to be their full size, and produced over 147 offspring, which were the only hatchlings that grew past 3.5 months of over 12,600 eggs laid by their parents. 80 of these offspring were between the ages of 4 and 5, and were already as large or exceeded the size estimates for Paleoloxodon. Trail cams show that once the first of their offspring reached around 2 years old, Samson and Delilah allowed them to join their herd, and became very protective of them when trail cams emitted recordings of Tyrannosaurus vocalizations. This was enough for the generals of the coalition to be satisfied.
Okay, we got a
There's
giant
now
boat.
Only 23 of the largest Diciotherium, including the original two.
It's like an aircraft
of the large
carrier.
autopiloted vessel, modified to hold them, as well as massive stores of mana, while they made their 7-week journey to Isla Nublar.
Okay. It's fighting time. Come on, it's clobbering time.
We have times.
Shout out CM Punk.
Then the
I ain't gonna lie,
unclean
CM Punk
spirits-
versus Seth Rollins for Mania. Anybody else think that that's probably gonna happen? I think that's gonna happen, bro. Who's gonna win? I don't know. I can't tell you that. I ain't gonna lie. But you know what? If that does happen, Drew McIntyre is definitely gonna interfere. Which I don't know why. Because right now it seems like he's moved on from CM Punk after he literally made him like lose copious amounts of blood. But something's telling me he's not really done. I don't
went
know.
out and entered
Anyway,
the
I have
sea.
to bring up wrestling in every video.
Ran violently down the
I can't not do
into
it.
the sea and drowned in the sea.
Upon reaching the shores of Isla Nublar, the landing craft beached itself and automatically opened its massive front door. Samson was the first to come running out, immediately tossing up sand and trumpeting with excitement, followed by Delilah and their offspring. Though he didn't know any better,
That boy ready to
Samson's
squabble.
excitement attracted unwanted attention. The Indominus comes rushing out from the tree line and stops for a moment to observe this strange creature. She's never seen anything like Samson, but she's also hungry, and food is scarce. This strange, large, glistening animal looks like a tough nut to crack, but if she can manage to kill it, it'll be enough to feed her and her young for days.
Only, see, I
how
thought he
will-
was gonna say weeks, bro. Days is crazy, bro.
One-on-one between
He's
these two
massive.
go. Well, not that I'm biased or anything. I'm pretty sure Samson wins about 8 times out of 10.
Yep.
He can lift
Looks like
almost
it.
her
I
body
think genuinely it would need to come up with the craziest strategy and like plan, especially a team strategy. I don't think it could take Samson out 1v1. There's no way. There's just no way. Strength in numbers, right? Some sort of plan, an attack plan. We need a plan to retreat, to heal, because there's no way you gon', you know what I'm saying, take a couple of hits and keep going, bro. You gotta know when to call it quits. They could do it, but not in a 1v1. 1v1,
weight with
it's
his
over.
trunk alone, and 3 times her body weight with his neck and tusks. If the Indominus managed to somehow get on top of Samson, it would be extremely difficult for her to be up there for very long without slipping off, since even her iron claws wouldn't give her traction on his composite armor. She wouldn't be able to scratch at his neck and back like she does with sauropods for the same reason. Trying to
Okay.
exploit what weak spots Samson does have, like his limbs, underside, and trunk, effectively puts her in a kill zone. Going for his trunk, she either gets gored,
Dang, swing radius, trample zone, more swing radius, goring zone. Yeah, you're cooked.
bludgeoned, or tossed by 83
It's over
tons
with.
of mammal. Going for his limbs or underside,
You'd have to really, I think the strat would be, and maybe you could just do 2v1. Maybe you don't even need a whole group, but you need one to distract as a sacrifice, put it in the swing radius somewhere here, right? And then have another one attacking this way or this way from the underside. And then just kind of, you just got to have that awareness to not get trampled accidentally, because it could still happen, you know?
one step away.
That's
from
the
all that
only
weight
way you'd be
being
able to take that
put on
down.
her, disabling if not killing her instantly. I say 8 times
Yeah.
out of 10 because there are 2 scenarios where I see a lone Indominus killing Samson. The first
Okay,
is
by itself? Talk to
using
me.
her speed and intelligence to wear him down, baiting him to attack and burn energy while striking wherever she can.
Okay.
But this would probably take hours and wear her out as well. The
Yeah.
second is if the Indominus has one of these convenient,
A sharpened metal pole.
a well-placed thrust to the chest or eye socket would kill Samson.
Indo 2.0 knows how to use a dinosaur-sized metal lathe. I don't see this being very common. Yeah.
Now, of course,
I
2
doubt
or
it.
3 Indominus 2.0 could certainly take down one Diciotherium.
Exactly,
But even
yeah.
then, the Diciotherium would very rarely be alone. It's a herd animal, and each member of said
True.
herd is a walking arsenal.
True. See, I didn't
Even if
consider that
Samson
part.
can take on Yogi
Yikes.
Center's Indominus 2.0 in a one-on-one fight, what are the long-term effects of Diciotherium being introduced to Isla Nublar? What was the Coalition's goal? The larger goal wasn't to win the 1v1. though we certainly could. The creation of Samson was a race against time to support the Indominus 2.0's population before they died off. You see, the Indominus 2.0 is the only species on the planet that has natural immunity to the Indominus plague, and given that they multiply so quickly, it was only a matter of time before Isla Nublar was devoid of any life, the hybrids resorting to eating each other and eventually going extinct. And with them, humanity's only hope for a cure. Attempts to create a vaccine from tissue samples of these dinosaurs were largely unsuccessful, mostly because acquiring said samples was so dangerous, but also because the DNA of the Indominus 2.0 was too mixed-matched and not congruent enough to make a vaccine for humans from. This is why using mostly mammals for our hybrid was so important. The Diciotherium had two different goals while on Isla Nublar, the first of which was to eat any and all plant life to support their incredibly demanding metabolisms, destroying the ecosystem from top to bottom, and by proxy killing off any other animals that could potentially be a vector for the Indominus plague. The second goal is to provide a food source for the Indominus 2.0 for just long enough to build up an immunity to the Indominus plague. As a result of the Diciotherium eating their way through the island, the resident hybrid carnivores won't have any choice but to hunt the Diciotherium. We're designed to be just durable and challenging enough of a prey item, but not so impossible to kill that they won't try to hunt them. They can hear and smell them coming and relocate before the carnivores even know they're there, and if they do manage to face a Diciotherium, the herd has strength in numbers, and physically are very difficult to take down. They won't fail to kill a Diciotherium every time, but they will fail enough times to slowly start dwindling in population as the hybrid elephants continue to grow in population. As the herds get larger and more common, it will become increasingly difficult for them to get a meal, and they may even resort to eating their own young, as well as each other to stay alive. But their end is already written. Samson has already won, and humanity by proxy.
Hey, bro, this is
So David prevailed
fire.
over the Philistine with the sling.
Even though I'm not, you know what I mean, like into the whole, like this whole universe, not very familiar, not really into it. This is still very entertaining, bro. And I like that.
Philistine and killed him, but there was no sword.
And I'm still learning, bro. Like that, bro.
of David.
That's the best part about this channel, bro. Like it's all fun and like, you know what I'm saying, kiki, but like still putting that nerd stuff in it, man. I love it, bro.
Was gone.
Shout out to nerds, bro.
Humanity
As a nerd, I love nerds, man.
As well as some materials to terraform it.
I'm just nerd about this stuff. My PC was starting to crap out on me while making this anime. Oh, man. It's cool, bro.
A vaccine from the Diciotherium that prevented both newborn humans and sheep from contracting or experiencing symptoms of the Indominus plague. They will continue to work towards bringing this nasty plague to a heel for all animals, perhaps finding a way to aerosolize it and spread it across the earth. Samson himself was nowhere to be found upon arrival, until one day, when surveying the island for places to build housing for the increasing population, Samson's skeleton, which was identifiable by the numbers on his horns, was found under the rubble of Jurassic World's Innovation Center, with a long piece of broken paddock fencing between his ribs. Alongside him were the skeletons of 3 large Indominus Rex, with broken bones in various places. It was presumed that when Samson reared up to stomp on one of these predators, the Indominus pierced him with a large metal pole, and he fell on his back, bringing the old building down with him and killing them all.
Dang. R.I.P. to real, bro. 07.
So I started working on this video pretty much like an hour after Goji Center's video came out, and since then I've seen plenty of people coming up with their own hybrids to take on the Indominus 2.0. So realistically, I don't expect any sort of response from them. I've also kind of created my own scenario from what little they shared about theirs. If Goji Center does have their own scenario drafted up, it's probably not anything like what played out here, which also kind of falls apart if you don't retcon the eruption of Mount Saibo and Fallen Kingdom, so there's also that. Now, I know this is way different from what I usually upload, but don't worry, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled Assessing Survival episodes, unless you guys like this hybrid stuff, which...
Hey, I mean, it's kind of cool.
As always,
it's not really my thing, but like, I respect it though.
Fluffy Dino, Lex,
cool. Shout out to the patrons, man.
Narwhal, Mr. Matt, The One Kaiser, Scadu Master, Nocteinbruch,
The Real,
MTL, Milkman, and Milady Y.
Milkman? Joseph?
See you next time. Dorks.
Hey man, shout out to all the milkmen out there, bro. I get it. Y'all be getting, you know what I'm saying? Y'all be getting ragged on, especially on Twitter and all that. But like, there's nothing wrong with liking milk, man. There's nothing wrong with it. Come on now. Man, this is a cool video though. This is a cool video, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Very interesting. Not too familiar with what this was. I hate that I have to tell you guys this, but stop spamming Goji Guy and Goji Center about Samson, man. That is hilarious, bro. That is hilarious. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. That's the one thing sometimes, like, Sometimes the community just be a little too strong, man. Just a little too strong, bro. They just be want to do whatever, man. But hey, this is cool. This is very interesting. This is very different. There's a couple other videos that I have loaded up that I need to check out. But this one I figured I'd check out first since it was the most recent. I'm pretty sure bro hasn't dropped since this one yet. Came out 9 days ago. Hey, bro dropped again, man. What kind of... Okay, no. I was about to say, because like the editing in this video, like there's no way bro could pump out like, you know what I'm saying, multiple videos in like that short space of time. There's just no way. I don't think a human would be able to do that unless it's like a team. And I doubt that this is a team. I think it's just bro. But either way, this is fire.